Welcome to this MicroFocus ZENworks video presentation. My name is Darren Vandenbos, Product Manager for ZENworks Endpoint Security Management, a location-aware, policy-based endpoint security solution that provides core protection for Windows endpoints. ZENworks Endpoint Security Management provides protection against malware threats, execution control of applications, access control and encryption of removable data drives, encryption of folders on fixed disks, secure access to wireless networks, control of hardware such as USB and Bluetooth devices, and network access protection via a personal firewall. In this presentation, I'll focus on ZENworks Endpoint Security Anti-Malware. If you'd like more information about the other capabilities, I encourage you to check out the ZENworks Endpoint Security Management feature overview video on microfocus.com. ZENworks Endpoint Security Anti-Malware protects Windows workstations and servers from malware threats while providing you with a centralized view into the threat activity on those devices. Support is provided for Windows 10 workstations and Windows Server 2012 and newer servers. Endpoints are protected against both known malware threats as well as unknown or zero-day threats regardless of the threat type. This includes real-time and on-demand scanning of files, boot sectors, the Windows registry, and memory. The policy-configured threat protection is administered through the centralized ZENworks Management Console. And because no security administrator wants to be blind to the malware threats attacking their organization, detected threats are reported to the Management Console, where easy-to-use dashboards show impacted devices, as well as the current threat status of all protected devices. The Antimalware Agent, or scan engine, uses a variety of advanced detection technologies to provide outstanding performance and detection rate results. This includes signature databases to quickly detect known threats, generic detection to identify variants of the same threat family, and complex heuristic analysis to identify suspicious file behavior exhibited by unknown and zero-day threats. Emulation is used to inspect suspect files in an isolated virtual environment, while other proven technologies are used to ensure that files can be correctly unpacked, unarchived, analyzed, and parsed. The scan engine and all security content is provided by an anti-malware partner that consistently ranks in the top 3 of anti-malware solution providers and the top 2 of anti-malware technology providers. For more information about our partner, you can email zen@microfocus.com. The Antimalware Agent provides all endpoint malware scanning and remediation. It is installed to the endpoint when an anti-malware policy is applied. Real-time protection ensures that threats are detected when a file is accessed, whether that file is downloaded from the internet, opened in an application, or launched by a user or another program. To provide a second layer of threat detection, you can schedule full, quick, and custom scans to run on regular intervals on local, removable, and network drives. When the Antimalware Agent detects an infected file, or a file seems suspicious, the scan engine remediates the threat by disinfecting, quarantining, deleting, or blocking the file based on preset best practice policy settings that you can customize as needed. All Antimalware Agent settings and behaviors are controlled by the anti-malware policies assigned to the endpoint. There are 4 anti-malware policies you can use to configure malware protection on endpoints. The anti-malware enforcement policy is the only required policy. It initiates installation of the anti-malware agent on the device and provides the configuration settings for the on-access scanning and on-demand scanning. It is pre-configured with best practice threat protection settings that you can customize as needed. The custom and network scan policies let you create additional on-demand scans that you might need to supplement the full and quick scans included in the anti-malware enforcement policy. The scan exclusion policy lets you set up scan exclusion lists that can be used with the other three policies if you need to restrict scanning of certain directories, file types, or processes. The flexible scan scheduling gives you complete control over when full, quick, custom, and network scans are performed on endpoints. As an administrator, you can determine how much interaction end users have with the anti-malware agent. For example, you can determine if users can initiate their own scans and pause, postpone, or cancel policy-configured scans. You can also determine which notifications and alerts users see when a threat is detected. If desired, you can even run the agent in silent mode so that users have no interaction whatsoever. Anti-malware data is displayed in ZENworks Control Center so that administrators can understand the overall status of their endpoints related to malware threats, identify problem endpoints, and resolve those problems. The anti-malware dashlets show any detected threats as well as the current threat status of each endpoint. The anti-malware view on each endpoint provides details about its threat status, detected malware, and infected files. The malware view provides details about devices infected with the malware threat. Let's take a look at ZENworks Endpoint Security Anti-Malware in action through a brief demonstration. Malware protection for endpoint devices is configured entirely through policies and settings in the ZENworks Management Console. From the policies list, I can launch a wizard that lets me create an anti-malware enforcement policy. This policy, when enforced on a device, installs the anti-malware agent that detects and remediates malware threats. Since I already have an anti-malware policy created, I'll open the policy rather than create a new one. Going to the details page, I can see that the policy includes settings that control on-access scans, which provide the real-time protection, and on-demand scans that can be run on a schedule or initiated manually. The policy creation wizard defaults the settings to recommended values. However, once the policy is created, I can customize the settings for my security needs. For each scan type, I can determine the location and files to scan, the behaviors associated with the scan, and the remediation actions that are taken on infected and suspect files. I can also change the quarantine settings, such as how long quarantine files are retained. And I can define processes, files, and folders to exclude from each type of scan. Once I assign the policy to devices, the anti-malware agent will be installed on the devices and the policy settings enforced. I've assigned the policy to all Windows 10 devices in my zone, so let's take a look at one of them now. On this device, I have the Antimalware Agent Security Console open. In the console, I can see that the device is protected from malware threats and that, as scheduled, the anti-malware agent has requested malware signature updates hourly throughout the course of the day. I could use the scan tasks to launch one of the predefined quick scans or full scans, or I could create a new custom scan. I'm not going to run one of the on-demand scans at this point, but I'm going to instead unzip this dummy file that has infected test files in it to show what the on-access or real-time scanning looks like. I'll go ahead and extract this file. And we'll see that as it's extracted, that the anti-malware agent detects various infected files as they are copied to the hard disk. We can go into the security console and see the various actions that have been taken on these files. In this case, the file has been denied. There's one that's been quarantined. There's another one that's been disinfected. For the files that have been quarantined, I can actually go into the quarantine and see those files listed there. As an administrator, I'm most likely going to have the anti-malware agent run in silent mode without any user notification or interaction. But I'm still going to want to know about detected threats and the current status of devices. In the console, the security dashboard includes several anti-malware dashlets. The top 10 malware threats dashlet shows me the threats detected in the last 30 days and the number of devices impacted by each threat. When I expand the dashlet, I can see more threat details and, if necessary, drill down into the individual threats for additional details. The device malware status dashlet shows me the threat status of devices over the last 24 hours. For example, the device which I just scanned is showing as having detected threats that are unresolved. When I expand the dashlet, I can see the status for each device and the unresolved status for the device that I just scanned. Drilling into that device, I can see that the device has an unresolved status because the anti-malware agent had to deny access to one of the infected files rather than disinfect, quarantine, or delete it. This is an unresolved threat because it is still on the endpoint and could potentially harm the endpoint if the anti-malware agent were removed. As an administrator, I can then take appropriate actions to handle this file and this threat and secure the device. That's it for the demonstration. As a recap of what we've covered, ZENworks Endpoint Security Anti-Malware performs on-access and on-demand scanning using signature files and heuristic analysis to detect threats in both infected and suspect files, lets you use predefined, customizable policies to control scanning behavior and remediation actions taken on detected threats, lets you determine the level of user interaction with the anti-malware agent and malware events, provides flexible scheduling for complete control of scan times and update events, and keeps you informed of detected threats and device threat status through the anti-malware dashlets in the centralized management console. Thank you for your interest in ZENworks Endpoint Security Anti-Malware. This concludes the video presentation.